All right.
Call this meeting to order at 4 o'clock. So minutes from the 20th?
Want to acknowledge Jeremy first?
Yes, so Jeremy is out today,
Yeah,
so
he
I
has an
will
excused
be,
absence.
yep, excused absence, so I will be chairing the meeting on his behalf.
And I approve the minutes for the July 20th, 2026 as written.
Proper motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so we are on to public comment on agenda items, up to 3 minutes. Anybody here for public comment? No? All right. So we'll go ahead and move to resolutions. First, we have Oprah certificate for 2231 West Willow Street, AM Land Holdings. Do we have any?
Available for any questions.
Yep.
if there are any.
We had our public hearing on this last week. Can you give us maybe a little bit of a recap?
Yes, so 2231 West Willow, as you mentioned, Oprah certificate. They previously had the district approved. They are looking to repurpose the existing building to be an automotive paint and repair shop. The number of jobs that they're estimating is quite considerable given its size. Let me see here at the number of jobs listed. I think it's 30, 20 jobs at 70,000 a year. Is that what we have estimated currently? And then the investment for that is about 700,000. That does not include, there's considerable environmental remediation that's needed on site. We worked with them to get some resources from Eagle at the state to help put in a vapor mitigation system. So, yeah.
Great. Any questions from the committee?
No, thank you for the presentation.
Yes, thank you. And so the next step will be to put it back on for,
They would go to
Council?
council on the 24th for final approval.
I move a resolution for the Oprah certificate of 2231 West Willow Street, AM Land Holding LCC, or LLC, excuse me.
that's a proper motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, the resolution passes. So now we're on to the Brownfield Plan number 91 for South Cedar. Again, we had a public hearing this last week.
Yeah, and so just again, quick overview of the project. It's the former University Motor Mall. It was demolishing and remediating the property. There was 3 buildings on site, including automotive repair. So there's considerable site preparation and remediation involved. The brownfield that we are requesting is local only, but it's been reduced to around 700,000 total for developer reimbursement. Although they could potentially be eligible for much more than that. That was the amount that was determined they needed to proceed with the project. The investment thus far, we had a list in the presentation around 2 million, but we had on the investment in the Chick-fil-A property as well as acquisition, all that's about 5 million. And they could see if they built out the other parts of the property, having 80 or more jobs in that area.
Any questions from the committee?
No questions.
Great.
I'll entertain, I'll motion the resolution Brownfield Plan number 91 at 6420 South Cedar Street project resolution.
Proper motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, so that's also going to
Yep.
on the 24th. All right, great. So now we're moving on to setting a public hearing on obsolete property on Oprah certificate 418 Baker Street. Ron Holdings.
Hello. Introduce myself. I'm Amy Evans. I'm the Director of Economic Development at the LEDC. So you're going to start seeing my face and Chris's face.
Okay.
I'm about 9 months in at my role here. So today I'm talking about a obsolete property rehabilitation act certificate for 418 Baker. This is the second step in the Oprah process. Council previously approved the establishment of the district, and now we are requesting the certificate. The Oprah is a state of Michigan economic development tool for obsolete commercial properties. Rather than grant or upfront payment to the developer, the Oprah provides a temporary property tax incentive following the investment in the rehabilitation of the property. This property is owned by Ron Holdings, led by Lior Ron, here with me. Lior has an existing Lansing investor and a track record in the community. He has been investing in Lansing properties since 2008 and is currently more than 175 rental units and 120 affordable units in the city. This project at 418 Baker is a mixed-use rehabilitation with private investment exceeding $200,000. 418 Baker is located on the corner of South Cedar Street and Baker Street, just east of Reotown. And the rehabilitation will activate both floors of the existing building. On the ground floor, the project will include a real estate office and a 2-bedroom live-work residential unit. The upper floor will contain 2 additional residential units, 1 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit, and 1 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom unit. I'll pause here to let Lior speak a few words about his vision for the property.
So basically the vision, well, I'm sure everyone knows the building. The building is basically not great. So currently, that's the development. We're waiting on, of course, city permits and all that stuff to get the work going, and looking into possibly collaborating with our collapsed neighbor to possibly do to rebuild his property and maybe do something with some type of a joint venture. Not really baked yet, but as far as that project, that's kind of the plan.
Any questions from the committee?
No, they were already answered earlier.
Okay, great. Yeah, and we've seen you come through with this project before, so looking forward to hopefully getting it off the ground. So is there a motion for?
I have one thing, sorry. When you have the collaboration with the adjacent neighbor, are you able to follow back up with council or this committee to see what the process of that would be?
So we could, regarding the Oprah, he's already approved. Before his building collapsed, he already got an approval on that. So, I mean, obviously, if we will deviate from the existing plan, we'll bring everything up to, new city plans. I mean, right now we submitted a preliminary set of plans to do that just to one building. And tomorrow we're meeting with the architect to see if there's a possible collaboration there. And if so, I mean, yeah, we'll bring back whatever you need. Tell us what you need and we can definitely come.
It'd be nice to see that joint collaboration.
Yeah. And again, I'm not sure it's necessarily going to be like a one building.
Right.
Because joining the parcels and the partnership might be tricky. So it might be more on the conceptual, on the concept, to maybe add another commercial and residential on top, or use this as an extension of our building on all around commercial use. But we're not sure that time tomorrow, I'll definitely know more.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a resolution?
Yes, I will motion the resolution for setting a public hearing on the obsolete property rehabilitation certificate at 418 Baker Street, Ron Holdings LLC.
That's a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that public hearing will be on Monday, September 14.
Yeah.
If you all can be there. Okay, we are on to setting a public hearing on Brownfield Plan 92, 416 Cedar Street Rehabilitation Project.
Great. So I'm here to present Brownfield Plan number 92, redevelopment of office commercial space at 416 North Cedar. Following my quick overview, I'm going to introduce Pat and Jason to speak a little bit about their vision on the property. You have some information in your packet. I won't go into all the detail about the Brownfield program, but the Michigan Brownfield Redevelopment Financing Act was created to encourage investment in properties and make it easier to redevelop those properties. Property may qualify because it's contaminated, functionally obsolete, blighted, or meets other eligibility criteria. In this case, 416 North Cedar both qualifies as a facility and functionally obsolete based on environmental conditions identified through due diligence, and there's substantial investment needed to modernize the building for today's commercial code needs. The Brownfield program allows for eligible redevelopment costs to be reimbursed over time using new tax revenue generated by the redevelopment itself. This redevelopment directly advances the LEDC's strategic priorities because it supports business expansion and growth through existing Lansing employer expanding its operations, and to create capacity for future employment. It's revitalizing an underused commercial property by transforming vacant, functionally obsolete building into a productive assets and contributes to the momentum in the stadium district. One important point I'd like to emphasize is that the property was owned by a nonprofit for approximately 14 years, meaning it was exempt from property taxes during that time and it's been sitting vacant for the last 6 years. The property was returned to the tax rolls last year, being purchased by the current developer. As a result, the city and other taxing jurisdictions have already realized an approximately $70,000 annual property tax revenue simply because the property is again taxable. The brownfield reimbursement plan does not use those existing taxes. It only the additional taxes will be captured for this project. The baseline tax revenues will continue while the new value created through the redevelopment helps pay for the eligible costs. Once the reimbursement is complete, 100% of all of those taxes will go back to the taxing jurisdictions. This development is led, 416 North Cedar LLC is led by Pat Gillespie. The future tenant will be Kelly Cawthorn, a Lansing-based government relations and association management firm that plans to relocate and expand into the entire building. I'd like to invite Pat to provide a few words about the planned redevelopment.
Thanks, Amy. Thank you for this opportunity. Amy hit some of the highlights. I'll keep it very high level. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. What we're most excited about is that the Stadium District, that building's been mostly vacant for 6-7 years. We're going to bring 50 to 60 people there on a daily basis, which really adds a lot of energy and pedestrians walking about. It wasn't on the tax rolls, and putting it on the tax rolls now is a really quick turn on. In fact, it's already paying taxes. And then we're going to spend $3.8 million and try to use as many, local subcontractors and local suppliers as we can. The question that we get more often is, man, you're moving one office tenant from downtown to the Stadium District. And that's a real easy one to have a conversation about. Someone else wanted their space. The building owner wanted their space, so they were going to leave. And we kept them in the city of Lansing. We kept them in the downtown. And why they wanted this building is they're adding an arm of association management, which is, you guys probably know, associations have meetings on quarterly basis. They house them there. They bring in food. They have an opportunity. We're going to have different restaurants bring in their food. So 3 to 4 days a week, they're going to have 30 to 40 people coming just for association management. And they have parking at this building. Downtown, there's not convenient parking for all those associations. So they're looking to open a new business line, grow their business, and make it more convenient for their people and stay in Lansing. So it checks a lot of boxes. They would like to be open mid 2027. So this is not a pie in the sky thing. They're pushing us pretty hard to get rolling. And without the brownfield, it doesn't make a lot of economic sense to do it. So we appreciate you taking a look at it.
Just to add, as you can see in your presentation on the renderings page there, they are adding some additional public infrastructure on some landscaping and the archway on the north end of the Stadium District. So really capping the end of that district. This brownfield request includes $871,000 an eligible reimbursement to the development team. The costs are limited to the activities specifically authorized under the brownfield program, include environmental due diligence, asbestos, lead abatement, demolition, and those public infrastructure costs. This is a 24-year brownfield plan with 23 years of capture that would begin in 2027, and $871,000 of that would be eligible expenses for reimbursement. I'll open it up for any questions.
Any questions from the committee?
I know.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of, I was looking through the documents and looking at some of the things that the inspectors found weren't, that you'd have to update. And some of the things read like, it may be out of code. Why did it say that instead of like, for sure, it's not going to be?
It was built, I think the building is 30 some years old.
Yeah, late 70s.
So everything from handicap bathrooms to,
That's it. It was the ADA ramp where somebody said, oh, it might be out of ADA compliance. Why don't we know if it is or if it
because
isn't?
those change on a pretty regular basis. I'm not sure we commissioned him to see the new rule book compared. He just made some general observations that said probably not to code. Clearly it's not.
Correct, and
Yes, with the fire alarm system and the number of occupants that we're going to have in there, it's greater than it was. So some of those, he didn't know if we're going to have 30 new people or 50, and that makes a difference in the fire suppression system. Some was the unknown.
So, sorry, I'm the environmental consultant on here as well. Is this part of the brownfield plan you saw it?
Yeah.
attached?
Mhm.
That was probably related to the city assessor and their determination of functional obsolescence. So they don't get right into code. They just look at the definition of functional obsolescence.
Okay.
To pass that bar to qualify for brownfield plan. So there will be a further,
More in depth. Okay. Thank you. Do you have anything else? So is there a motion for the resolution?
Yes, I'll make a motion to set a public hearing on Brownfield Plan 92, 416 North Cedar Street Rehabilitation Project.
That's a proper motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so that will also be set for Monday, September 14. If you all be there, that would be great.
See you then.
All right, see you then. And we're moving on to the Resolution Act 5, 2026, use of right-of-way and use of air rights for the 200 block of South Grand Avenue, New Vision Lansing LLC for the Grand Tower Building.
I'll take the lead introducing it. New Vision Lansing LLC has commenced on the construction of a 28-story skyscraper at 217 South Grand. You've probably seen it, hard to miss. With an accompanying 6-story parking ramp across the street on the 211 South Washington parcel. Applicant has proposed a parking deck spanning the 200 block of South Grand Avenue, connecting the two structures. This would be the use of air rights. As proposed, the construction of the parking deck would require placing foundation columns to carry the load of the parking or the amenity deck. In the right of way, this is considered the use of right of way. The applicant would locate private parking spaces and private residential amenities for use of their tenants and customers within the parking deck space, which we're kind of using as the amenity deck to kind of keep them separate. There's an excerpt on page 128, 29 of the agenda packet, but it's more in full on pages 138 through 140 on your agenda packet, kind of explaining the parking deck design and the rationale for engineering and cost. Getting to the kind of specifics for the Act 33 request, the ramp foundation and foundation columns will extend 1.34 feet to 5.17 feet into the right of way. There's a diagram on page 143 of your agenda packet. Although this will result in some sidewalk widths less than the preferred 10 feet in width, it will still be 8.8 to 9.8 feet in total width, which is sufficient for ADA compliance and two-way pedestrian travel. For the actual amenity deck, it will commence 31 feet above South Grand Avenue grade, and the dimensions would be 133.6 feet north-south along Grand Avenue and 82.5 feet in width across the right-of-way. The air rights would extend 285 feet from grade, which is the height of the tower on the Grand. So I threw a lot of numbers at you, but there are diagrams to kind of show where everything is. Kind of quickly touching on a few things, the administration and city staff, including economic development and planning, public service with engineering and transportation, and Mr. Venker, OCA, have conducted numerous talks with the applicant. The easement agreement would include details for sidewalk design, final street design, replacement of street lighting, since poles would limit the sidewalk clearance and would be less effective under the amenity deck. Replacement of street tree planting wells. I think there's 3 that will be removed. So we want those trees planted elsewhere. Third-party inspections of the amenity deck on a regular basis, and those reports would be reported or given to the public service and the building safety office. Upkeep and maintenance responsibilities for the applicant. The ability for the city and BWL to close the street for any utility or street work. Preservation of any utilities or easements or easement agreements within the right of way in the future. And then a reverter clause as standard to return all use rights for the right of way and the air rights back to the city in the kind of probably unlikely event that the amenity deck and foundation is removed from the right of way. I'm just putting my planner hat on quickly to finish up. Yeah. Skywalks are generally discouraged as an urban planning practice because they usually divert pedestrian activity away from the street level and reduce visibility of ground floor businesses. Context of this proposal is quite distinguishable. The proposed amenity deck is in an area with substantial surface parking lots immediately to the north and the south, the 100 and 300 blocks. There's no commercial activity along this stretch. And so no commercial storefronts would be affected. Further, the amenity deck will serve the residents of New Vision Lansing units rather than office workers or visitors, as is typical for other Skywalk networks that kind of, connect them from point A to point B. There will actually be residents in this building. And they will be visiting or likely visiting downtown businesses as a matter of course. Then also real quickly, unlike other communities with an extensive Skywalk network, Lansing only has one really for the Lansing Center connecting to that parking ramp. It's not like Minneapolis or Calgary or even Cincinnati that is connecting dozens of buildings throughout the downtown. So this proposal is not expected to contribute to a broader system that shifts pedestrian activity away from the public realm. Given that we don't anticipate an adverse impact, planning and zoning staff recommended approval, and planning commission voted 4-0 to recommend approval as well. There was 3 people absent, and then we have 1 vacancy. So that explains why it was a 4-0 vote rather than hopefully more members. But we also have John Gentilozzi and his team for other questions.
Any questions from the committee?
Well, I had the pleasure of touring the building, and so I could see why there would be the need of the Skywalk. Just for not only it flows with the amenity floor, and then even the crossover, it still gives some convenience, and then even being able to patronize those businesses on Washington. So for those who like the walkability aspect of it, that is what I feel is a huge piece, because that is some things that have been a lot of conversation, is having that flexibility versus wanting to cross over the main street. So that I appreciate. And then again, just the architect work of it. So I think that it will bring another positive piece to this particular building. So, but thank you for having this conversation. And again, thank you for asking the questions when I did the tour. So appreciate it.
Of course.
I have just one question. So I wasn't on the board when the plan went through. And so I wondered, why wasn't this part of the project to begin with? Like what changed?
This has always been a part of the project. So in our original council presentations, we sort of described the
This will be
bridge and the
future.
amenity structure as coming in the future. And what we learn kind of every day is when you're in a project that is going to take 28 months, you're really building 4 or 5 separate smaller projects kind of all in sequence. And so this has been the time. The other part of this is when we came before council originally and sort of discussed this idea, we didn't have final architectural and final structural. It would have been premature for us to bring this request to council before we knew exactly sort of the spot that we needed. Because it avoids us saying, hey, we need an extra 5 feet this way and 5 feet this way, which isn't what PA 33 is meant to provide for.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Is there a motion to move the resolution?
Yes, I'll make a motion to remove resolution Act 52026, the use of right of way and use of air rights, 200 Black South Grand Avenue, New Vision Lansing LLC for Grand Tower Building.
All in favor? Aye. So the hearing is set also for the 14th.
Doesn't have a hearing.
No hearing.
Sorry,
Yep, it
yeah,
just
goes
goes,
to
yeah,
the-
goes
yep.
on the-
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
So now we have a discussion item. We are getting ready to set our budget priorities for fiscal year 2027. And in the packet, there is our draft resolution.
No,
We don't need
you're
to-
good.
I have $1. We'll watch the recording.
I'll send a quiz over.
All right, you got it.
Thank
True or
you.
false?
We have our own budget priorities.
Oh, I'm sure. Stay within budget.
And so we have a draft resolution here, just kind of with some placeholders for what we set last year. And so to get us thinking about what we want to bring in for this year, we have to finalize them by our next meeting because of Labor Day getting kind of in the way of the schedule. And so just wanted to get us thinking about this. I spoke to Sherry. She said we can discuss them today if we're ready to, or also send them to her and she'll distribute to the other committee members. And then we can all come back at our next meeting.
Yeah, which is, that will be September 21st
Mhm.
because of the holiday. week.
Yeah. Yep, I think I'm not opposed to having some thorough conversation about it as a collective committee and with our chair not being present. I think we can send that communication over to Sherry and then
Yep, I agree.
reconvene.
I
Yeah.
agree. All right, great. Well, that is it. Are there any other items? No. All right, great. Well, we are adjourned at 4:25. Very much. What an exciting planning meeting today.
Boisterous.
Yes.